Gee, I hate my job. I hate this podcast. Welcome to episode 47 of Viewpoint, the podcast where we look at the points of views of various books, yeah, especially good ones, because I have to read them and I don't like reading bad ones. Today we are looking at the novel The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. The struggle of a boy to form a bond with his father and strengthen the bond of him and his friend is shared, mostly by the actions, which rely heavily on the points of view of the character, Amir, the boy. The friend is Hassan, and the father is, of course, Baba. I don't want to be too cryptic. Before we get on to the the actual topic of the episode, I would like to introduce the idea that there's a sponsor because it's a podcast. Anyhow, Hosseini reveals the main character's Amir points of view. The author reveals Amir's point of view of how the importance of relationships you have with others. Hosseini reveals the point of view of Amir that it is very important to hold good relationships with those you care about. The thing I like about The Kite Runner is that it captures a unique place and time, and that is important for how this book is relatable. Because as I mentioned earlier, despite of how unique and different it is to us, we can still see things that we can relate to. We can more deeply understand our own problems. As an example, having a strong family dynamic is important in Afghanistan, especially in the late 70s, in which the novel takes place. We first see this when Amir wins the kite flying tournament. Hosseini writes, and I saw Baba on the roof. He was standing on the edge, pumping both of his fists, hollering and clapping. And that right there was the single greatest moment of my 12 years of life. Seeing Baba on that roof, proud of me at last, leaves me to wonder, would it have been any better or worse if Baba was not on the roof? But more importantly, this moment reveals Amir's point of view by showing the extent of the importance of making his father proud. It is not just a great moment, it is the greatest moment of all of his 12 years of life. And we see that throughout the novel, that it continues to be that way. This shows us the point of view that Amir values the love of his father, because Amir describes the feeling of finally making his father proud in such high regard. This is a very important moment for him, and also a very important moment of the book. Now, this captures a unique place and time because it is expected in the past that you would grow up to be like your father. And so therefore you want to be like them, especially in Afghanistan. Looking up to your father was a typical thing to do. Now, of course, this isn't the one time it happens. For such good writing, surely would not be left to just one moment. In fact, I would say you could probably find one example in every page. But I wouldn't know, I did not keep count. There was more than 10, that's too many. Amir's point of view. Additionally, this point of view is revealed when Amir tries to re-strengthen his relationship with his friend Hassan, and I shall refer to him as his friend, despite that the relationship is more brotherly, and Amir often dismisses Hassan as his friend, due to the fact that they come from different races, which are said to be separate from each other in Afghanistan. They don't really coincide with one another, and that is somewhat important to know that that dynamic is there. But I won't go into too much detail because it's not that important. So that point of view is seen when Hassan that point of view is seen when Amir tries to force Hassan to hit him as a way to reprimand him for the things that he has done. And his most recent uh, disregard for Hassan, when Amir did not help him escape from a local gang of ruffians bullying him, despite the fact that Hassan went to retrieve a blue kite, which for context is very important, for it was the last kite to be cut in the same kite tournament as before. So you can see that how important Hassan's deed was, and how Amir disregarded, deciding to run and leave Hassan to fend for himself. So to quote the book, "Hit me back," I spat. "Hit me back, god damn you. I wish you would. I wish you would give me the punishment I craved. So maybe I'd finally sleep at night. Maybe then things could return that I used to be between us." This moment reveals Amir's point of view by showing that Amir feels guilty for how he treated Hassan all his life. Because of how Amir continuously tries to get Hassan to reprimand him for anything at all, really, we can see that Amir wants to be on even ground with Hassan. Hassan always helps Amir, like, is just generally a good friend to him, while Amir usually uses Hassan either to get him out of trouble, but part of the blame on him, or to fend off bullies. Because as we've seen before, Amir does not go in to save the day. He usually leaves Hassan to do that for himself and for him. We can even see Hassan was the one to get the blue kite. It all wraps up together. What a great book the Kite Runner is. This shows us a point of view that Amir values a good dynamic with his friends, or natural feelings, all Hassan, his friend, because Amir would hurt Hassan and then command Hassan to hurt him, something that has been made clear Hassan would not do, simply to remove his guilt for being a bad friend. Amir is acting selfish with his good intentions. This point of view is influenced by the time period because it shows how to pass to people. This point of view is influenced by the date. This point of view is influenced by the setting of, but this point of view is once again influenced by its setting, by showing how Amir wants to remove guilt, and that he holds his morals in such high regard that he would act, although not immorally, certainly unethically, just to remove the guilt he has. Something that is much more prevalent in the past and certainly in Afghanistan. Overall, this moment captures Amir acting worse to Hassan than ever before, hurting him directly to force a punishment onto himself for what he has done, for what Amir has done. In conclusion, by looking at how Amir acts when concerning the points of view of his father and his friend, we can see that how Amir feels about it is reflected on the culture of Afghanistan during the late 1970s. However, his reactions to his feelings, how he goes about his points of view. However, his actions when concerning his points of view are entirely universal. We all felt guilty for something we've done and may have even wanted to get punished or just be blamed for what we done. And we all want to be valued by a loved one, even if it may not be our fathers. So after looking at the Kite Runner, I can certainly say it was a very good read. From it I've learned that cultures will always have different points of view, but we are all human and will act similarly. I think that I also think from reading the book that although throughout history we may hold different morals and different levels of importance, that we never truly lose any. We will always view things that are objectively wrong, such as murder, as wrong, even if we're less lenient on it in certain points of history. The place captured in the Kite Runner, once again, I will mention that the setting is 1970s Afghanistan, late 1970s to be a bit more accurate. is a very good choice because although very culturally different to most readers, it is still filled with characters that we can relate to and recognize. And we can see the truths of our own lives and the lives of people who are just like us but live in a different place with different cultures. What I do wonder is what I do wonder is what actually keeps us human between all these different cultures. If we can hold these universal truths, if we can hold these global truths and not be so different despite our vastly different cultures. For instance, my experiences are different from those in the novel because I live in the US. I hear day in and day out that our republic is a true democracy and how great having freedom is, despite the fact that people call me fat if I take my shirt off in public. So as an American, I can certainly look in wonder at the cultural differences seen in the novel. What just makes what is so relatable throughout it much more that much more meaningful. And that's why I can relate to the novel. It focuses on how people handle their problems. And most of the problems are ones that I face or already have faced. Because that is what is important about the Kite Runner. The points of views of people will always be the same. It is how we get to those. It's what separates us. But in the end, we're all the same. And that concludes this episode. This is the ending.